There are places on Earth that capture time in a way that museums never can. They stand not just as monuments to the past, but as physical warnings of human ambition and the speed with which the world can change. Off the coast of Nagasaki, Japan, an isolated island rises from the churning sea, its jagged profile instantly recognizable, resembling nothing so much as a great, rusting warship sailing eternally toward the horizon. This is Hashima Island, but the world knows it by its chilling nickname, Gunkanjima, the Battleship Island. It is a place of profound beauty in its decay, a concrete jungle utterly reclaimed by silence and salt spray. Yet its history is loud, complex, and often deeply painful. To look upon Gunkanjima today is to witness the physical manifestation of Japan's rapid industrial ascent and the hidden costs of that progress. For decades, it was completely inaccessible, left to the mercy of typhoons and the relentless Pacific elements, preserving a moment in time, the sudden total abandonment of an entire civilization. But before it became this ghost ship, it was a thriving, bustling, and often terrifying home to thousands. Hashima was not always a concrete behemoth. For centuries, it was just a small, unremarkable outcrop of rock, barely covering 4 acres. Its destiny changed dramatically in 1810, when coal was first discovered beneath the surrounding seabed. Initially, operations were small-scale, using simple vertical shafts to extract the black gold. But as Japan entered the Meiji Restoration, prioritizing rapid industrialization to catch up with the West, the demand for high-quality coking coal skyrocketed. The small rock island suddenly held immense strategic value, and its fate was sealed when the colossal industrial conglomerate, Mitsubishi, took full control in 1890. Mitsubishi's vision was not merely to mine the coal. It was to turn this tiny, inhospitable spit of rock into a fully self-sufficient, impregnable fortress against the sea. The engineering challenge was monumental. To access the richer coal seams that ran deep beneath the ocean floor, they had to constantly expand the island itself. Over the next 50 years, they built massive seawalls and poured concrete, transforming the original rock into a 6-fold larger man-made barrier. This expansion was the key to their success, allowing them to construct the necessary infrastructure and, crucially, to house the rapidly growing workforce. The coal extracted here was vital, powering ships, factories, and railways across the Japanese Empire. It was an engine of modernization forged deep beneath the waves, and the engineers of Mitsubishi were determined to make the living conditions above ground just as modern, albeit incredibly compact. By the 1950s, Gunkanjima had reached its absolute peak, both in production and population. This tiny artificial landscape became the most densely populated place on the entire planet. At its height, over 5,200 people were crammed onto just 16 acres of usable land. To put that into perspective, the density was approximately 835 people per hectare for the residential area, a figure that dwarfs the density of modern Tokyo or Manhattan. Life here was necessarily vertical. Space was the ultimate luxury, and every square foot had to be utilized. This necessity led to the construction of Japan's first large reinforced concrete apartment buildings, designed specifically to withstand the fierce typhoons and the constant damp salt air. These monolithic structures were connected by a dizzying network of aerial walkways and staircases, creating a perpetual concrete canyon effect where the sun rarely touched the lower levels. Imagine living in a place where your neighbors were literally stacked on top of you, where privacy was an abstract concept, and where the relentless roar of the ocean and the machinery was the constant soundtrack to daily life. Despite the overwhelming density and the harsh environment, the residents of Hashima attempted to build a normal, functional society. This wasn't just a mining camp, it was a self-contained city. The island boasted a full complement of services: a primary school, a junior high school, a hospital, a cinema, a gymnasium, a public bathhouse, and even a pachinko parlor. Everything required for life, from rice to razor blades, had to be shipped in from the mainland. The resource most fiercely managed, however, was not space, but fresh water. Because the island had no natural source, water had to be transported via an undersea pipeline from the mainland, a costly and fragile lifeline. For a time, water was rationed, adding another layer of difficulty to everyday existence. Yet residents were incredibly resourceful. Due to the lack of ground space, the roofs of the concrete buildings became precious communal areas. These rooftop gardens became playgrounds, laundry drying areas, and small vegetable patches. Little patches of green defiance against the gray concrete world. Life was undoubtedly difficult, defined by the grueling shifts in the hot, humid mine shafts hundreds of meters below sea level. But for the families of the miners, it was a home defined by tight-knit community and a shared unique experience found nowhere else on Earth. They were pioneers in vertical living, adapting to extreme scarcity with ingenuity. But beneath the stories of the resilient community and pioneering architecture lies the island's profound and darkest secret, a history that complicates its modern status as a relic of industrial heritage. During the height of the Second World War, from the 1930s through 1945, the population of Hashima included thousands of coerced laborers. As the war effort intensified and Japanese miners were drafted into the military, the labor shortage was brutally filled by forced conscription of Korean and Chinese prisoners of war and civilians. This period represents the tragic core of Gunkanjima's history, a chapter of immense suffering that saw laborers working under horrific conditions with minimal food and brutal supervision. These forced laborers, known as chosenjin, were subjected to extreme danger in the mines, facing frequent accidents, gas leaks, and the ever-present threat of collapse, all while being housed in the worst available conditions on the island. The mortality rate during this period was tragically high, a stark contrast to the relative comforts enjoyed by the Japanese managerial and engineering staff. This history of wartime forced labor is not merely an unfortunate footnote. It is central to the island's legacy. For decades after the war, this historical reality was largely suppressed or ignored in official narratives of the island's past, creating a deep and unresolved controversy that continues to this day, particularly concerning its 2015 designation as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This designation, celebrating the site as a key example of Japan's Meiji Industrial Revolution, came with intense international scrutiny. South Korea, in particular, protested the recognition, demanding that Japan explicitly acknowledge the victims of forced labor and provide proper historical context at the site. This ongoing debate highlights the crucial tension embodied by Gunkanjima. Is it primarily a monument to engineering genius and industrial ambition? Or is it a solemn memorial to the human cost of empire? Today, when visitors tour the island, they are physically restricted from accessing the areas where the forced laborers were housed, adding fuel to the controversy and raising questions about how history is curated and presented. The end of Gunkanjima came swiftly, not due to war or natural disaster, but due to technology. By the late 1960s, the global energy landscape was shifting dramatically. Oil began to replace coal as the dominant fuel source, rendering the deep, costly seams beneath Hashima economically unviable. Demand plummeted, and the relentless cycle of mining became unsustainable. In January 1974, Mitsubishi announced the closure of the mine. The notice was sudden, immediate, and final. The entire population was given just a few weeks to pack their belongings and vacate the island entirely. The exodus was not a slow decline, but a total severance. Families loaded their meager possessions onto boats, leaving behind furniture, personal effects, children's toys, and the entire infrastructure of their lives. The speed of the departure is what lends Gunkanjima its unique, ghostly quality. It wasn't slowly decaying before closure. It was vibrant one day and completely empty the next. The last official resident departed on April 20th, 1974. The island fell silent, a concrete shell that had once roared with the sound of machinery, human chatter, and the relentless pounding of the sea. The silence must have been deafening to the few officials who remained briefly to shut off the power and secure the remaining assets. For the next 3 decades, Hashima Island was completely abandoned. It was deemed too dangerous to visit due to the structural instability caused by years of neglect and exposure. The Japanese government imposed a strict entry ban, turning it into a forbidden zone. During this period of isolation, nature began its relentless work of reclamation. The ocean, which the engineers had worked so hard to keep out, began to seep back in. Typhoons battered the exposed structures year after year. The interior decay was hastened by the salt-laden air, which aggressively corroded the steel reinforcement bars within the concrete. The sight of the decay is captivating. Walkways designed for thousands now hang precariously, twisted like ribbons. Apartment facades have collapsed, peeling away to reveal the intimate, faded colors of the wallpaper and the remnants of domestic life. A rusted television set, a child's shoe, a single, decaying mattress. Plants, incredibly, found purchase in the cracks and crevices. Trees sprouted from the tops of ventilation shafts, and vines snaked through shattered window frames, slowly tearing apart the concrete jungle from within. Hashima became a powerful, silent lesson in the impermanence of even the most robust human constructions when pitted against the indifference of time and nature. It became a perfect example of haikyo, the Japanese term for urban ruins, drawing a dedicated, if illicit, following of explorers and photographers who risked arrest to document its eerie beauty. The island remained largely forgotten by the public until the 2000s, when technological advancements and a growing interest in industrial heritage spurred efforts to reopen it. In 2009, after significant investment in stabilizing a small, safe viewing corridor, Hashima was officially reopened for tourism. This move was not universally welcomed, but it marked the island's transition from a forbidden ruin to a global destination for dark tourism. Visitors can now experience a fraction of the island, walking along specially constructed paths that keep them well away from the most structurally unsound buildings, offering a tantalizing glimpse into the past. The modern experience of visiting Gunkanjima is intrinsically linked to the ongoing dialogue about its historical identity. The guided tours emphasize the engineering prowess and the community spirit of the miners, but the historical controversy surrounding the forced labor remains an unavoidable part of the narrative. Japan has since pledged to establish a facility to commemorate the victims, attempting to satisfy the UNESCO requirements for full acknowledgement of the dark history. This effort underscores the fact that Hashima Island is not merely a collection of abandoned buildings. It is a contested historical site, a place where the memory of industrial triumph clashes violently with the memory of human rights abuses. Today, Gunkanjima serves as a chilling yet incredibly magnetic cultural icon. It has appeared in films, video games, and countless documentaries, cementing its image as the quintessential post-apocalyptic ruin. Its silhouette is a powerful metaphor for the fragility of human endeavor and the relentless march of technological progress that leaves whole worlds behind. It represents the height of Japan's ambition during the Meiji period, a testament to the fact that humans could engineer a fully functional city upon the most challenging foundation imaginable. Yet, it also stands as a stark reminder that even the most innovative structures cannot withstand economic obsolescence or historical reckoning. The air around Hashima is heavy with salt, history, and the sound of the waves crashing against the massive seawalls. As we look at the crumbling high-rises, the empty windows staring blankly out to sea, we are not just observing ruins. We are observing the physical remnants of a forgotten lifestyle, a challenging existence defined by deep shafts, cramped quarters, and a profound shared isolation. The island speaks volumes about the human capacity for resilience, adaptation, and tragically, exploitation. It is a monument to the industrial age that simultaneously celebrates the power of concrete and mourns the lives swallowed by the pursuit of coal. Gunkanjima is a place that demands reflection. It compels us to consider what we choose to preserve, what we choose to forget, and how we frame the stories of those who lived and labored in the shadows of modernization. As the boat pulls away from the shores of the Battleship Island, leaving the silent, towering structures to their eternal vigil against the sea, we are left with the undeniable truth. The forgotten island is one of the most important and perhaps the darkest classrooms in modern Japanese history. Its decay is beautiful, but its lessons are essential, whispering across the water about the true price of progress.